Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today's book review is for 1,000 Miles by Bridget Morrissey. And this is a wonderful second chance romance that includes two characters who were childhood sweethearts and they made a pact 10 years previously. Now, the thing is, something broke them up. Not only did they break up, but they haven't seen or spoken to each other in 10 years. Now, one of our characters is Dee Matthews. She's the host, co-host of a podcast. She co-hosts it with her best friend, Harvey. And our other character is Ben Porter. Now, when they were teenagers, they were a couple, and they took a road trip at that time to visit Ben's grandmother. And when they visited his grandmother, they also planted a time capsule. Well, fast forward 10 years later, and Dee is in a position right at this particular moment where she is breaking up with her boyfriend and kicks him out or just tells him to leave. And someone knocks at the door and she's thinking that it's him coming back, but it's not him, it's Ben. And he has a proposition for her. And he tells her he's not going to take no for an answer. Now, let's talk about Dee for just one moment. Dee, on her podcast, it's a reenactment almost of everything that she has gone through in her life. Her podcast is called Did I Forget to Tell You? And what she does is she not reenacts, but she discusses different events that happened to her throughout her life. And she talks about these things quite openly. However, there's one thing that has always been off limits on her podcast, and that is Ben Porter. As a matter of fact, her audience knows everything about her life except one thing: anything having to do with Ben Porter. In fact, if she does discuss Ben on her podcast, he is name redacted. That's as far as she will go on that podcast talking about Ben. Okay? So, what about now? Her breakup is fresh in her mind. I mean, it was not a good situation. And now, name redacted Ben has this proposition is, I lost my grandmother, and we made a pact to go dig up this time capsule. So we're going to take this road trip. And we're not going to take no for an answer. Okay? So what will Dee do? Will she fulfill her promise to take this road trip, this 1,000-mile road trip with Ben, and discuss not only their past, but what broke them up? And while they do this, will any of those old feelings resurface? Now, it's a romance. It's a second chance romance at that. So we know that it will, these old feelings will resurface and will be addressed. But is it easy? Is it like easy peasy lemon squeezy? No, it's not. In fact, there's some grief there and sadness as far as what broke them up and whether or not they can get past the baggage that each of them now carries and find a way in order to look at their hearts and see growth or a chance of growth and address that issue that split them up in the first place and bring them something to, I guess, form enough of a foundation so that they can start over. Now, with this book, one thing that I liked is that it was every other chapter, so to speak. You had Dee's point of view and you had Ben's point of view. And I loved the way that happened because we, the reader, knew Dee's thoughts. We, the reader, knew Ben's thoughts. But of course, Ben and Dee didn't know each other's thoughts. So with the author, Bridget Morrissey, given those alternating points of view, you see the formation of this new relationship starting over. And obviously the chemistry was there, but as I mentioned earlier, there was also baggage. And so with that baggage, there was conflict. So they had to resolve that conflict. And what better way than the closed confines of a car traveling 1,000 miles to a destination? Really, really, really good book. I just loved it. It was really good. I'm gonna give it 4 stars. And it's it's out today, and you can get it at the Kindle store for $9.99, but I got it from Berkeley Books. So I want to thank Berkeley Books and NetGalley for this arc. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.